I love it.
When I hit play, I was like, I had a different beat. I was like dancing to, and I was like, wait, that's the old beat.
I know, but I like it. Like,
I like it.
It looks. You did a great job with that.
Thank you. It makes me smile. It's so shiny.
It's so shiny. I love that. It is shiny. Yes.
Well, happy Saturday.
Yes, I still am really excited about our Saturday mornings.
Me too. We get to drink coffee because then we won't be wired, because 8 o'clock at night's not a time for coffee.
It's not. And you know what? I am all about the coffee.
Yes, except for I did not have creamer this morning. I had to use 2% milk. It's not the same. I probably should have just drank it black. It's really gross, but I'm drinking it anyways because I must caffeinate. And I was already committed to the cup and the coffee.
Yep. I've told you before, I like my nut pods. It's a dairy-free, and not that I'm completely dairy-free, but this is also sugar-free, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of like garbage in it. And this one's toasted marshmallow.
Ooh, yum.
It is amazing. And I like to pair it with their chocolate. So it's like a little s'mores in a cup, except their chocolate is sold out until August. Who does that?
Wait, so you pair it with their chocolate creamer, or you pair it with their chocolate coffee and you like mix it?
My chocolate creamer. So they also have a chocolate creamer. And so I would do a half and half mix in my coffee, but they've been out. So I ran out in like May. They're still out until August. So
I'm lazy. I know I said I'm drinking coffee, but I'm drinking cold coffee because I just get the cold brew from the store because that's easier for me to make, because I just have to pour it in my cup.
Well, I have a Keurig, so I'm actually kind of a coffee snob. I think we've talked about this before. I'm actually kind of a coffee snob. I prefer, like, I have like a French press. I also have a drip maker, like a pour over. And honestly, I prefer that type of coffee. It's just that, when you're leaving your house at 6:30 in the morning, nobody's got time for that.
Yep.
Plus, I have a Keurig in my office too, and so because I am a drink coffee all day sort of person. So
you're really slumming it there.
Yes, I am. Got my Keurig in my office. I mean, it's the economy Keurig. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was the low model Keurig. It was the one that Walmart had on sale. So the economy version.
Way to try to recover.
It's not the bougie Keurig.
That's still way bougier than me. My cold brew in my mug that looks like it's hot, but it's really cold coffee because I don't even want to brew it.
That is too funny. Too funny. Well, the Keurig does it for you. You just pop it down, hit the button, and it goes.
That is the truth. Yes, it is. I'll do that at school. We have one in our library area where I'll do a hot coffee, which is nice.
Yep.
But at home, I don't know why it's too much work. It's just is.
You are too funny. I just love my coffee too much. I even have decaf, which is sad. Decaf coffee is just sad, but I drink decaf coffee at night. So I have to stop drinking my coffee, like my caffeinated coffee, like 6, 7 o'clock is probably the latest. And then if I want coffee, I have to switch to decaf.
That would be too much coffee for me. I have 2 cups. That's my max for the day.
Well, I do 2 cups in the morning. I do 1 cup in the afternoon, and then sometimes I have my decaf at night.
Nice. That does sound yummy, though. I do enjoy coffee a lot.
Love some coffee.
It doesn't always like my stomach, too, if I drink too much. So
Yeah, sometimes the acid creeps back up. Now, I drink dark roast coffee, which has less acid in it. So,
Good to know.
yeah.
So now all our Doodle and Chat friends are well averse. I don't even know if that's the wrong word. Their knowledge of coffee has just increased.
That's right. Listen, if you ever want to talk coffee, I would love to do that.
They
I'll
came
talk.
for Doodle and Chat, and 5 minutes later, we're just talking about coffee. And see, they thought because Annabeth was gone that we would actually get to the point earlier. They were wrong.
Well, I mean, as my second daughter always says, we're a pleasure.
We are a pleasure. This color, I love that. There's another shirt.
We're
I'm
a
a
pleasure.
pleasure. Although I
Writing
don't
it
know,
down
maybe
right
that's
now.
not right.
Huh?
Maybe that's not right. I don't know what to think about that one.
I'll write it down and we'll be like, maybe, I don't
Maybe
know.
not. So it's the first Saturday of the month, which means it's a Doodle and Chat classy, right?
Yes.
So we have our one pager that we send out with our newsletter. It's also in, I think it's in the show notes as a link where people can access it. And we call them one pagers because in theory, and we try to really stick with this, it should take one page. Well, this one's a little bit more, but one page to do the activity, one
Yep.
page to read about it, and one page to do the activity, right?
Yes. Yes.
And this one I am so excited for.
Me
I can't
too.
wait to try it. I can't wait to use it in my classroom. I can't wait to see other people try it also. So
Yes.
this one is one you discovered, yes?
Um, yeah, I think actually maybe you saw it first. Somehow
Oh yeah.
we had this conversation. But I had never seen this artist before. And so as soon as you sent it to me, I was like, I need to see who this guy is because his style of art really speaks to me, and I think it's really amazing. And so it's Charles McGee, and what we're doing today is one of his signature pieces. He has all sorts of artwork. So in our classy, I actually linked a document. So if you wanted to talk to your classes about Charles McGee, you definitely could do that because he is a Black artist from Detroit. He passed away in 2021, but the artwork that he shares, and he says in this article that you can read about, he talks about how he really just wants to show the beauty in everything and make art accessible for everyone. And so he would do these sculptures, he would paint on the sides of buildings. Sometimes they were just drawings. But he was all about just sharing his art with everyone. And this particular style that we're going to do today, like I said, it really speaks to me. It's kind of a combination of like the Zentangle drawings that I absolutely love. As a matter of fact, I wore the Zentangle Doodle and Chat
You
shirt today
did.
in honor of that. But the combination of this, so I think you're the one that said, hey, this would make a really cool 3D sketch note. And the minute I started doing it, I was like, this is so cool.
Well,
This is
and
so
what a
great.
fun accident for us to run into Charles, and his message is almost like ours too, is,
Yes.
making sketchnoting accessible to everybody and really trying to take things like we saw. This is probably was on one of the wonderful art accounts that we follow.
Yeah.
And I tagged it because I thought, oh, this will make a great sketchnote idea too. And so we're taking this Charles McGee infused idea and
Yep.
we're twisting it a little bit and adding some doodle and chat to it and making it a 3D sketch note.
We are. We are. And so I made one so we could send out an example in our classy. And as I was making it, so we had just had Keisha Gibson on
Mhm.
when I was doing this, and she talked about gratitude, which is something that I'm trying to work on as well. It's part of my health journey that I'm going on. And I see Kimberly says that she's not a coffee drinker. I also think that my health coach would like for me to not be quite as of a coffee drinker as I am, but I digress. Um, so as I was doing this, I did this in the theme of gratitude, but I was thinking about like how cool this would be as a back to school activity to get to know your students. Or if you were talking about literature, how you could incorporate that into your literature, or even like in my math classroom, there are some very vocab heavy. And even like in a geometry unit, not only could you have the vocab, but you could have like your doodles be a part of like whatever the vocabulary word was.
Mhm.
And I was like, I mean, my mind just started spinning with all the super cool ideas that you could do with this. And then when you're done, to hang these on the wall, like if you Google Charles McGee artwork and see what some of the teachers have done, some of them have made like displays on the wall and these three-dimensional things popping off the wall. They are so cool.
Very cool. Very cool. So I think we're ready, and I think you gave me an idea. I think I'm going to do a get to know you one because we
Okay.
might have new people joining us for Doodle and Chat, and you're welcome. Everybody's welcome to pick their own um, topic. I'm going to have you take us through what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So should we turn our cameras on?
You bet.
And I feel like if people, this one, this Doodle and Chat has more supplies than we
Yes.
usually do.
Yes.
So I feel like if anybody's here and joining us and they're like, oh, darn it, I don't have everything. I feel like you could sketch note or take notes on what we're doing, even.
Yeah.
Or
You
even just
absolutely could,
start
or
with
you could
one.
do the first part of it. Like if you have a piece of paper right now, you could do the first part of it
Yes,
and then gather your supplies later to finish it. So
agreed.
it
Agreed.
honestly, the second part of it doesn't take as long, although the second part of it, in my opinion, is the really fun part of it. So
Awesome. I've got my little encyclopedias so I can up my paper because my camera doesn't like when I don't do that.
perfect. So what I have today, a Sharpie, and I think the Sharpie is going to work the best with this. If you Google this, we are not the first people to do Charles McGee art. So just to put that out there, this is not unique to us. We actually have seen other people who've done this with their students. We're just adding the sketchnote element to it, which I think makes this super special. And most people use a Sharpie.
Mhm.
Charles McGee's artwork for this particular style is black and white. I've seen other people who've done it with color, and it's also very cool.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Um, and learning about his message, he wouldn't be offended by that. Like he would say, art is to be seen and to be experienced. And so I think if you use color, Charles McGee wouldn't be sad at all.
Awesome.
And then you're gonna need some scissors because we're gonna do some cutting. I love, especially with littles, when it involves scissors because that is, I mean, even in high school, I am still amazed at how many kids struggle with using scissors. And so anytime we can get scissors in kids' hands, put scissors in their hands. They need that skill.
Also, at the beginning of the year activity, you get to assess who can cut and who can't. And that's
Yes.
also a nice little like, oh, mental note.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. I mean, there is something to it. Like I said, even in high school, I would have kiddos that were just really bad at it. And I don't think it's a skill that it's sad to work on in high school either. Like kids need to practice that. It's just a skill
yeah.
that you learn. It's something that you do. I'm using tape, and I know we put in there you can use tape or glue. I'm using tape because my glue stick was dried up. And so
Mine might be too. I did just find that I have tape, thank goodness. So
okay.
mine might be dried out. I haven't tested it yet.
I I think like probably you could use Elmer's glue, like the runny white glue. Um, you would just have to hold it longer because you definitely want your first piece to stick before you mess with it again.
Got it. So tape would
And
be the fastest.
so yeah, I just found tape worked really well. And even on I have some black cardstock. Um,
Oh,
and it's just what I had. And honestly, when I did this for the example for our classy, I used a scrap. So it was like about this big. It was just a small piece. I just rummaged through my stack of cardstock and said, "Oh, I have a small piece of black. I'm going to use that." And then one piece of white paper.
mhm.
And so I'm gonna just move this right here. So the first thing that you do is that you just draw designs on your paper going across. And some of the people that I've seen do this will have like little wispy things that stick up. And so like they, just have like small pieces like that in the corner. So those are going to be your wispy pieces that stand up. You can do straight pieces. You can do wavy lines. And the more you have, the more of these layers you're going to have when you're finished. I didn't bring my finished piece.
That's okay.
and it's not close because I definitely put it on display in my house when I was done
I love
because
that.
I loved it. My husband came home, he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "I made it today." And it had my gratitude on it, and so I left it out.
So about how many do we want?
And you want them to be different thicknesses. So you want some to be thin, you want some to be thick, and I would say, like, 5, no less than 5, um, probably no more than 10.
Okay.
And you can play with it and you can kind of see. I do want some of my little wispy pieces, so I'm gonna have some of those on there. Um,
I could also see, like, doing this for if you wanted to do this as a first activity, but give students different options for different line combinations, and
yes.
then the second time you do it or the third time you do it, then students could start to warm up to what they want.
Well, and in our classy, I had the template that I used for mine, and then I think we just provided the template also without the lines on it. Maybe we didn't, but
Mhm.
we can share it because I have it without the lines on it.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you could do this and help, help the kiddos out that maybe needed a little bit of extra support with
Yeah,
this.
just some scaffolding at first,
Yeah,
while they're getting used to it if you wanted to, I was thinking.
absolutely.
Or if you were in a crunch for time, you know.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you don't have to use every piece that you have. Now you're gonna want to use the ones that the words are on. I didn't put words on all of mine. And I had, I think, more than this the last time I did it. I may make one of these a little bit smaller because I do know some of the smaller pieces are kind of fun,
Okay. I'll
like
make
the
a small.
thin pieces. And I didn't put words on the thin pieces, but it did add kind of a layer to it that was kind of fun. So the different depths and stuff. And I didn't make one quite this jagged the last time, so I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to work with the jagged one. So, all right, so once you do this, now is going to be your sketch note time. So anything that you would want to put on this.
Okay.
And you can put them in different places. So I put some of them in the center. I put some of them along the edge because we're going to end up layering these together in kind of this three-dimensional format. And it's okay if some of the words are hidden. Like, I think that's kind of the fun part of it, like, as you look through it and kind of see, but if you put them in different places, some of them will be on the edges and you can see from the outside, some of them will be where you look straight down on it, and so it's however you wanna do it.
Okay. And so I decided I'm gonna do an about me one.
Mhm.
Give that a try.
Alright, I haven't decided what I was gonna do because, so like I said, the first time I did gratitude,
I mean, you could do gratitude again. Keisha said it was good to do all the time.
it is, I could absolutely do
I could
gratitude.
do gratitude also. Let's maybe that's what I'll do. You wanna do gratitude again?
We can, or you can do the one about you. I love that idea too.
Okay.
It's whatever you wanna do. I think I'll do gratitude again.
Okay. Well, and I'll do about me.
And this is exactly what I love about doing this in a classroom is this quiet
Mhm.
while kids are thinking and
Agreed. That's my favorite part of any part of sketchnoting or
yep,
drawing in the classroom.
you can almost feel the calm.
Yes. I feel like time also kind of slows down, which I think a lot of students appreciate when it comes to this kind of thing.
Or when I look up and I'm like, "Okay, so it's time to start cleaning up." They're like, "What? It's already time?"
So once we're done with the words, if there's people who are ahead of us, what's next, Mandy?
So what's next? And some people will make some of these lines thicker. Now,
Mm,
I didn't do that, but I noticed that some people did. You could also just make the edges thicker once you cut it out. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out on all of our oh, just kidding. We're not ready to cut out. We're ready to Zentangle or design. And so in Charles McGee true format, like I said, it was black and white, and he did like stripes, stars, checkers, just your basic shapes.
mhm.
When I did this, I added some of my more fun Zentangle designs that I like, but it can be as basic as you want, as complicated as you want. He does in his style color some of it in. So some of his stripes are black, some of them are just, drawings on there. So he does incorporate that. I found that if you have some that have more black showing and some that have more white showing, it gives it a little bit more depth as you're doing it.
Got it.
And so, like, if I wanted to do this one, like one of the cool ones that he would do, he would, and then he would put like boxes in the middle.
Mhm.
And then he would color in like around the boxes and just leave these as the white part, like this. And so I probably would put this in a box also, and then just keep going. And so then he just colored in around them like this. We'll put another box right here. And so when
Yep.
you're done, you just have these boxes down the middle. And then the ones around it, I would probably do something that had a little bit more white in it. And
Gotcha.
so what you're going to do now is you're just going to design each strip differently.
And I'm thinking too of even adding just seeing what will happen if we add just a little bit more of a doodle element. Like I'm wondering, I'm going to just take a chance and see what happens if I pick one or two images that I think connect
Yep.
with each one and repeat it over and over again, see what happens. And so I'm going to take that approach and see what happens.
Well, and that's what I was thinking too as I was doing this, that like, especially if I were doing this in a math classroom, because obviously that's where my mind goes a lot of the times, coming from a math classroom, I think it would be so cool if we were doing vocabulary for, let's say, circles. And you were talking about a chord and you just drew all different types of chords on that strip.
Yes.
So I think that would be really cool. I love that idea. Of course, like a dum dum, I picked the big one
Oh, I know. I know.
to color in, but that's okay. It's going to look really cool.
I think I know how to draw a heart. Ay. I mean, I'm even thinking of in our ELA class, we have some pretty standard vocabulary activities that we do at the beginning of every unit,
Mhm.
just to make sure students have, the needed vocabulary built. And we've added like a doodling part to it, and the kids really enjoy this. That I'm like, this would just really just bring it up a notch. Still
Yeah,
same activity, like still talking about the words and what they mean and drawing a doodle next to them, but it would just make it a little bit more fun,
it would, and I mean, we all know that the element of art is important in the development. I mean, not just for cultural awareness as well, for understanding where the art comes from, which is why I said I would definitely talk about Charles McGee if I were going to do this activity, because I would want students to know who he was and why things like this were important to him. But it's also it's not just putting words on a paper. And you and I mean, we know that's why sketch notes are so important, because just connecting with the words doesn't work for everybody. Research shows that it's better if you can connect images with it. And so then imagine taking that next layer with the kinesthetic, like you're
Mhm.
cutting it out and you're putting it together. And as I did it, as I was gluing down my strips, because like I said, I did gratitude before, I thought about each one of those again as I was gluing it down or taping it down to my paper.
Exactly. I was thinking about all the motor planning that comes together and how many times you'll review the words
Right.
before you even get to the creating the final draft of it all. Um,
And I remember in school, and it didn't matter what age I am, like I was always very proud when I was done. Um, when I would create something and I was done with it, like I was always very proud of what I had done. And
Agreed.
I think that's part of this too, having students be proud of a vocabulary activity. I know I've said this before, but absolutely there's something so relaxing to me about the sound of Sharpie on paper.
Well, and I realized I don't know, I couldn't think of anything for wife. So I was thinking of like being a wife as a constant loop. And then I was like, oh my God, that's so incredibly boring. And like your marriage must be terrible, Carrie. But it is. It's like life is like this loop. And then I was like, well, being a wife is kind of like the rings of a tree and it expands. But now when I look
Aw.
at it, it looks like barbed wire. Oh, the shackles of marriage.
Dave, I'm so sorry.
It's just, it doesn't look like how I thought it would. That's okay. Okay.
I see your idea behind it though.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Kimberly wrote reader twice. That's okay, Kimberly. I think that was your subconscious saying you really like to read.
Absolutely.
So Kimberly, being a reader, and I don't know what kind of books you like to read, but yesterday was Stuff Your Kindle Day for the romance readers. Um, and I know that because my daughter has a podcast where they mostly talk about romance novels. Her podcast is hilarious. I have to tell my high school students it's probably not high school appropriate because they do talk about some spicy romance. But yesterday was Stuff Your Kindle Day, and so I called my daughter and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get on Kindle. Tell me what I need to get." And she's like, "Honestly, I just have them all. So you just need to get onto my Kindle and read them." So anyway, there's also one for mysteries. So in July, there's a mystery group. So it's actually sponsored by certain people, and they just make these books available for free for one day. And you can put them on your Kindle. You can put them on your like iPad, your Kindle app,
Oh,
and your iPad and stuff. And they're yours to keep forever. Like they just make a list of books free. There's one for mysteries that it's available in July.
wow. I'm going to have to try that. And Keisha's here. I don't know if she knows that you're doing gratitude.
I wasn't listening well, so my Zentangle is not what it's supposed to be. Keisha, that's okay. So what we're gonna do when we're finished is we're gonna cut out these strips and we're gonna make like a Charles McGee style piece of artwork from it. And yeah, I don't know if you're here to hear, but I did my first one and I'm doing this one in gratitude because you inspired me after our last Doodle and Chat. So mine is about gratitude and I love it.
Oh, and Keisha said she's doing gratitude also.
Our Doodle and Chat with Keisha really inspired me to be better about my gratitude. And so it's something that I've worked on. So, Keisha, I want you to know that you were an inspiration to me. Also on a personal note today, and I know, people are like, why does she share about her family? It's gratitude, thinking about my family right now.
There you go.
My daughter, who we call it her big girl job. I know she's probably I'm pretty sure she wants me to stop calling it her big girl job. But she has her first big girl job. And so she's making her first, what we're calling adult purchase today. She's going to pick up her new car.
Wow, that is a big deal.
So she is excited. She did ask her dad to go with her because, she doesn't have the life experience for some of that. But yeah, she's going to pick up her car today. So
that's exciting.
It is. She's also a little scared.
That's a big deal.
Yep. Thinking about the gratitude, because I know for some students, especially, that's just gratitude is not something that they're used to displaying or showing. And I mean, I don't mean this in a negative way, so please don't hear this the wrong way. But in my family, that just wasn't something I felt like that we saw a lot of. And I think for some kiddos, that's probably also not something they see a lot of in their family. I think this would be a good segue into that gratitude. So it's just a few words and, it's not like journaling or something like that. I think this would be a good entry point for them.
Well, I also think this is something that you could start one week, like maybe every Friday's gratitude day or something like that. Because I did mention when we talked to Keisha about when she really shared when she shared, I don't know, there was just something about the way she shared the research about gratitude that kind of like put the nail in the coffin for me. Like, okay, I'm sold. Because our school makes it a really big deal. And I'm just kind of like, that's nice. I'll do it when I have to. But now I'm officially sold. Thank you very much, Keisha. But this is something I feel like you could start one day, work on a little bit through the week, or start 1 week, add a little bit more, add a little bit more, add a little bit more until you finish it. Or you could I was even thinking about coming up with some activities that students could use to share their gratitude, and this could be one. And then you'd have several others until you have a menu that's born or built where they could pick out several, however they want to share or document their gratitude. This could be one of them. But you could start on a Monday filling in these little lines, which is super calming. There's science behind that too. Tuesday, add one thing,
Yep.
Wednesday, add the next. It could be like a bell ringer.
Yes, absolutely.
And it could be gratitude or it could be whatever.
Right.
Actually, it'd be a great end of the class check-in. Write one fact you learned.
Oh, from each lesson.
Yeah, and then on Friday you cut it out, and you do your lesson, and maybe Friday is cut it out, this wouldn't be the worst homework. Okay, now you need to take it home on Thursday night and cut it out, build it up. Although that would be hard to transport a 3D.
It would be hard to transport, and I'm always really cautious about sending stuff home with kiddos because not all of my kiddos had the supplies at home that they needed to get it finished.
True.
So I also didn't want a parent doing it for them. Not that that would ever happen.
But it would be a good, like, if you're done with your activity, you can work on your 3D sketch for this lesson.
I love that. Like every day, add it to it. That's amazing.
Yeah, or like you're wrapping up, you add to it as you go through a unit. Because I'm also thinking, and I also do, like, at the end of my units, I try to do a lot of independent work so students can start to stagger how they finish. This could be the final thing. Okay, now work on your 3D sketch note, for your faster finishers. you know,
Mm-hmm.
that could be something. So Mandi, while you finish up,
Yep.
and I'm a little bit ahead, do I cut things out now?
Yeah, so you're just gonna cut out on like your big squiggles that we did at the beginning. We're just gonna cut each of those out.
And you mentioned thicker lines before. Is that because if I stay on the outside of my thicker line, it just gives it a little definition when I
It
build up
does.
my
And so you can, so like on this one right here, if I cut on the outside of that, this one is going to be, and cut on the outside of that, this one's going to be completely white.
got it.
If you want your black lines on all of it, then you're going to have to kind of cut in the middle of them. Or if you make your lines thicker, then each side has some black line on it.
Because you can cut the line in half.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Personally, I think it's kind of cool to have some of the black lines on there and some of them without the black lines. It just kind of adds some dimension to your finished project.
Okay, I'm going to try a thicker black line.
Okay. And I am almost finished with mine. And for the kiddos who are struggling to know what to draw, I love how you connected it to the words. I did that with some of mine. So like with coffee, the steam coming off of it.
Yeah,
Like
it's definitely a higher level. It's
Yes.
definitely a higher level way to do it. I found that it was harder to repeat the doodles than I thought it would be. I thought, oh, this will be easy. I'll draw a tree and I'll draw it over and over. That was harder than I thought.
It was harder. Also spending some time looking at the Charles McGee artwork would give students ideas of the patterns that he used.
Yeah, I mean, my brain is just like jam packed full of ideas right now. We use this paragraph summary tool called Story Champs, and it anchors different parts of retelling and summarizing things into colors. And I'm like, each of these strips can be color, or I give the kids the strips and they fill them. I don't know. My mind is just really, really just thinking about all the ways you could do this. Each strip would do a different color that would signify a different part of the story.
Yep.
So yeah. That just looks, I love, just like this is, I'm already like
I know. So just looking at it, it's so cool. But then once you layer it, oh my gosh,
but even just this is just fine.
It is. It completely is. And so here's the cool thing about it. Like he would do 3D sculptures of this. He also did what looked like 3D, but they were just drawings.
Nice.
But he made them look three-dimensional and they were very, very cool.
I also am looking at this too and thinking it's very forgiving for any skill level of cutter.
Absolutely.
Like I could butcher this and it still would be okay.
Yeah, you bet. And I think we even put that in the instructions that you can cut along these lines, but you don't have to cut along those lines.
And I could even, I mean, we both love the drawing aspect of all of this. But if any student needed support with spelling or speech to text, this is a template that could be built on Google Drawing, Google Slides, Canva.
You bet.
And then printed out. You know, if you wanted to really like scaffold it that way, they could pick. I mean, they still have to visualize to get the icons for things, right?
Yeah.
So you could make this a digital activity as well, and then print it out, and the kids could cut it out, and or you could even make it collaborative if you wanted to do a classroom one and make it really cute. Oh my gosh,
like a giant one.
Yes, of like all your students, each kid gets a strip.
Yep.
They could make it really big, like really chunky, or even get like legal paper.
Yeah.
Or butcher paper, and make it each kid get a strip a certain length.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, that would be a great activity for a classroom.
That would be so cool. So you would cut these out in advance.
Or like I told you, my mind is going, or each piece of strip goes with the first letter of their, each letter of their name, and then they describe themselves.
See, I think that's also very, very cool.
And then they could have a whole one.
Yep. So many applications for this one.
Yeah, and there is no perfection in the cutting, and I love that about it. Like I can be terrible about this.
Absolutely. I think I'll cut that one up. Look at that. Oh, doesn't that just make you happy?
Yes, I'm jealous about the black cardstock, but that's okay. I couldn't even find cardstock this morning. I found watercolor paper, so I'm like, this will do.
Well, and it just needs to be, I think, a little bit heavier. You probably could do this on just regular paper. But if you're going to want to hang it up, like I think this gives it just a little bit more structure.
Gotcha.
Because you are going to be pulling on it. So you're going to take one of your pieces, and it doesn't matter which one. I think I'm going to start with this one.
Okay.
And you're going to glue or tape it down anywhere on your paper, somewhere, anywhere.
Flat or with a bump?
With a bump.
Okay.
And so I'm going to tape one end. And then I'm going to make it bump a little bit. And so it just, like, I'm going to turn it sideways. It just kind of pops off the paper a little bit.
Okay.
It does not matter where. This part is also very forgiving. This is however you want to do it.
Okay. And then you're taking another one?
I'm taking the next piece, and you can go over, you can go under, you can like kind of twist it a little bit. So like if I do this, it twists just a little bit around. It could go straight. It could go to the side. I mean, this is you building your artwork however you want to build your artwork. And if you were doing this with kiddos, you would show them some suggestions of what other people have done. You could see his artwork too and see how he has done it. Like I would give some kids some examples of this so they could kind of see where we were headed, because this part might be a little bit more difficult to visualize. Look at that.
Nice.
Aren't they fun?
So fun. Okay, show us what you do with the little pieces that you said that we should do.
Absolutely. So like this one, I'm going to tuck this one under, and then it's going to go over on this one, kind of at different height.
Oh, look at that.
So we'll kind of do some layering in there. And so when I have a piece like this little guy right here.
Yeah.
So kind of like a fin. I'm going to find a place where he can be supported by another piece. And I am going to just stick it in there and maybe fold it a little bit if I want to. So he's going to kind of stick up like that.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a fin. Keisha says it does look like barbed wire.
I know. I'm a wife.
That makes my heart happy.
I'm not
I love it.
I'm not really trying. It does look like barbed wire. I was gonna put it away, and I'm like, nope, embrace it. It's okay.
That's right.
Stupid barbed wire.
So I don't know if you saw what I just did there, and that's a fancy little trick. So I just took my fingernail because this one was kind of pointy at the end.
Uh-huh.
And so I just took my finger and pulled, and it will curl the end of it up.
Oh.
And it kind of adds to that spiky texture of some of the others. Completely optional. Absolutely don't have to do that. But if you have a weird little piece.
Or even I'm just trying to bend a bigger one and see what happens. So
yeah.
Not sure I like that, but that's okay. Try it the other way.
All right. This is a chunky boy. So let's put it here. Maybe
that's
underneath. And because I had a smaller piece when I was doing this before, because like I said, I literally just took a scrap piece of paper and it was really small. Some of my pieces I hung off the edge and then just cut them off. And you can turn it around at different angles and see kind of where you want to place things. And
don't like this shape. Oh, that solves that. Just tuck it in there and get rid of it. I do think tape would be the best.
Yeah, and then if you place one and you're like, I don't like how that looks,
yeah.
You can untape it. I am so excited. I hope some people use this in the classroom because, like I said, we know that we take paper and pencil and we can combine words with images and sounds and we can make that connection. I think this is just another piece of that connection. Like I would be so excited to use this in the classroom.
Agreed. I'm also seeing like we've got all the words and stuff, and you could take like little thin strips like this and have things pre-cut out in different colors.
Yes.
And then let the students just kind of, I even find the practice of trying to see where things will fit as a perceptual activity, like exercise. And not all students have really great perception about like where things can go and how you can read things in depth perception wise. And so even that activity I think would be a good one.
All right.
Oh my gosh, look at that. So cool.
Yes. And so when you turn them on the side, like, and you turn them, I just kept spinning mine because there's just so much to see. And then when you put it back down.
And then give us a side view, Mandi. So cool. So cool.
So, yeah.
So fun. So mine's a lot more white, which is fine. But I really just love this. And this would be a great activity you could have before a parent night, or you could have your admin come in and the kids could, or your team of other teachers and kids could visit with the kids and the kid could tell all about themselves.
Yep. And see those little pieces, like you've got that little squiggle in the middle. I really think like the different sizes of pieces, it just adds to it.
Yes. I think, you could use a different color here. You could stick all white. You could have different colors of the squiggles and zigzags already pre-done because those are a little bit taxing. Right. And then have the kids do this and it would fill it up even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
like I said, black and white because it is in the Charles McGee style.
Yes.
But absolutely, like I said, you could add color, you could do all of those things, and I think that would actually make him very happy as an artist
Yes.
because he wanted art to be seen.
Yes. I even think you could do parts like this, and then you could have like 10 different colors and pick this if you're this and this if you're this. So then you could add another element of like, you know, I don't know. So many ideas.
Yep.
So many ideas.
It just makes me happy. It just makes me happy.
Yes, agreed. It's very, yeah, it's very fun. And it's also a little bit more energizing to me than our usual drawing. So usually, you know, pretty chill, but this one with the cutting, I think, and the
Yeah.
talking and the ideas
Yeah.
just gave it a little bit more oomph.
Yep. I love that that coffee is over the health journey. I feel like I didn't do that on purpose, but now that I see that, that's probably accurate. Subconsciously, my mind went, coffee is more important than the health journey. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so funny. So funny. All right, Doodle and Chat friends, if you were here with us and you created a Charles McGee inspired 3D sketch note with us, snap a picture of it and share it out on Twitter or Instagram using hashtag Doodle and Chat so we can see all the fun that you've had with us this morning on Saturday at 9:33ish. And then join us back here next Saturday at 9:33ish, where Doodle and Chat friend Chris Bouguet joins us on Doodle and Chat with Friends. We're very excited for that one.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.